Hi, Timothy and Michael. How are you?
Good, good.
I'm very good, thank you.
So you make a short film about the Russian sleep experiment, which is based on a creepypasta, one of the most popular of them. So why did you choose this topic? Why this one?
This specific one I picked after hearing the original creepypasta is because it had a good foundation, but it had enough vagueness in the story where you could really be creative in the process of writing the script, writing the characters out, which really didn't exist in the original story. There were no characters. So it gave me a lot of freedom, but still a really fun foundation to have a really interesting story. And it was like really one of the first ones I read too, and I loved it.
And well, this short film became very popular since the trailer, and it got a lot of good reviews. So tell us a little about this impact of the short film.
Absolutely, it's very humbling to know that like a short film in general has interest. You know, it's like normally with short films, it's like you might get a view or two from your mom and your cousins or something like that, and that's about it. Just a short film's hard to market.
Well, we had no intention to market this short film originally. We just wanted to make a proof of concept video to show people that we could make a feature-length version of the Russian sleep experiment. And then once it was finished and we started showing some people, such as my friend Josh Becker, who's a veteran from the Evil Dead movies, and he's directed a lot of small independent films that starred his friend Bruce Campbell, and my kitties here. He said, you have a product right here, you should push your short. And so we did, using social media and such, and it's blown up. It's in the top 10 most popular war shorts on IMDb. It's in the top 25 most popular mystery shorts, and it's also in the top 50 most popular thriller shorts and most popular horror shorts as well. And so, yeah, the impact has been big on us, especially since, like I said, we had no intention of ever sharing this movie with the public. Mm. And now, now we've got people contacting us from around the planet that want to see this made into a feature. So we're very excited.
Well, we include ourselves when we want to watch it. When did you decide to make a feature? Since the beginning, in the process?
Do you want to answer, or I'll answer?
Yeah.
I can.
Well, I wanted to make a feature of it originally, but I suppose, like, you know, with the resources I had, I didn't have the budget to make it into a feature. So I originally had a decent sized script for the feature, but I kind of, instead of fleshing it out more, I had to kind of skinny it down a little bit for a short film for the budget we had. And originally it was like a proof of concept for like a film for the feature, and then turned into like, oh, we can use this for proof of concept for like another original horror short that's completely different from creepypastas. And then it wasn't until really like last month really where we were decided like, no, forget it. We're gonna make this into a feature. People want this into a feature. They like what we did with it. Why are we gonna give this off to somebody else? So we just really, in the course of a little over a month, we really made a decision to do a feature film with it.
Yeah, it was literally just 2 or 3 days before Christmas, and I doubt he's watching, but if he is, Gary Jones, thank you for the conversation that motivated us to make this feature. My friend Gary Jones, who a lot of people know from his work on Army of Darkness and Mosquito. What was his most recent film? Axe Giant, The Wrath of Paul Bunyan. Paul Bunyan, he's an American folklore hero. They turned his legend into a horror movie. He comes back from the dead and kills everybody who desecrates the grave of Babe the Blue Ox. But it was a conversation with him that really motivated us to make the feature. Because once we realized we had success with the short, we thought, well, we'll use the short to make an entirely different story, a feature about something that's absolutely not Russian sleep experiment. And then Gary Jones said, well, you've got lightning in a bottle. It would be insane to not make a feature. And we decided, well, okay, I guess we're insane, so we have to stop that and we'll make a feature. And there's my kitty. That's Pearl. She likes to be pet a lot.
I see.
Come here, Miss Pearl. Whoops. Come on, lady.
Sorry.
So this feature will have an impact because of the topic, and also because it hasn't been done before.
Yeah, that's one thing that got me really excited to do this. I'll be honest, at first when Tim approached me to play Felix, I turned him down. It's like, I don't want to be in a short from a first-time director. And then when he came back and said, we have a budget, we can pay you, I got an interest. And even then I still said, no, I can't do this because I don't know a German accent. You need to find somebody who's better suited for this part. But he insisted. I took it and started researching the creepypasta and found that this thing's huge. There's one, for example, on YouTube, there's one fan video where somebody just on his little webcam microphone narrated this, just did a straight narration of the story, and took some half dozen or so still photographs off the internet and made a slideshow out of it. And that has, I think, 23 million views. And so we have a live action film with actual characters, a story arc, constructed sets and such. So I have a feeling that there's a huge market out there waiting to see what we're doing. And by the way, the short film, another interesting thing about it is that it's made a profit. And that is just really bizarre for a short film to make money.
Lightning in the bottle.
And by the way, that's available for stream worldwide at www.mindplate.tv. That's MINDPLATE. And I don't remember the
Link
/. It's the Russian sleep experiment with hyphens in between, I think. Go to Mindplate, you'll find it.
Now, as a writer and as an actor, how does it feel to recreate this story about complete madness like the Russian sleep experiment?
Writing, I love writing the writing process so much. It's one of like, it just gets in the core of the story for me. And then when being able to write something that is controversial as this, the prisoners are Nazi war criminals rather than being enemies of the state, being Russian. The reason why I did that was to have this element of justification of evil acts for a better purpose. It makes it, everyone in the story has humanistic qualities, no matter how evil they are, no matter how evil history has painted them. I'm not, at the same time, I'm very not condoning anything that anyone has ever done, but I'm fleshing them out, everyone equally as people, until literally they start going crazy and all that good stuff.
Well, what Tim's attempting to do is to show that evil exists in all of us, just as much as good exists in all of us. But this is more about the evil that men do. And so with the choice of Nazis, you have the perfect villain. You don't have to explain why they're bad. They're Nazis. Therefore, you already know that they're bad. I mean, it's such an easy Hollywood trope. Plus, you know, people love seeing Nazis as villains in movies. But on top of that, we did that to show that, like my character, I disagree with them. There's nothing redeeming about my character. But it's to show that what the Russians are doing, and in the feature will also be including the Americans, everybody involved in the war, showing the kinds of extreme evil that we all did in the name of good. Because, you know, even a bastard like Adolf Hitler thought he was good. He wasn't. I'm sure we're all convinced of that. But he thought he was good. I mean, it goes back to Plato's paradox of the good, where he said the good is that which you do if you know what the good is. And so, in other words, everybody thinks that they're doing good, even in a way, even if you're smoking cigarettes. We know that'll give you cancer, but the person smoking sees it as a good because it alleviates the cravings or satisfies other things. And so we're trying to play around with that kind of that confusion, that gray area, by pretty much showing that everyone's awful and need to be careful in our struggles to fight evil to not become that, because we talk about the Holocaust, but at the same time, the Americans firebombed Dresden, working class neighborhoods. We weren't blowing up military establishments. We were burning workers to death so they couldn't show up to their jobs. We did the same thing in Japan. We killed so many people in the firebombing of Tokyo. And then, of course, the atomic bombs. And those are the two single most brutal acts in the history of mankind. So we want to get this out. And I'm probably rambling at this point.
Spoilers, yeah.
Now, when you read about the story, what did you think? It's true or hoax?
There are. I'm not saying it's necessarily false. There could be some ruinous building somewhere where the experiment did take place. There were a lot of twisted experiments the Russians did, such as we take homage to this in the short a little bit, and mostly homages may come from the feature. But there's an experiment where they reanimated a severed dog's head. There's a video on YouTube that's a recreation video. It's not a real video, but they have a dog's head that's like cut from the neck, and they bring in oxygen and blood flow to reanimate like blinking and such small movements like that. So they did do some very twisted experiments, such as, and same thing with the Nazis, of course. They did,
and the Americans.
And the Americans as well. And so it's very possible that this did take place. There were experiments with sleep. Whether there was a gas that may have been wiped out from the face of the earth in an attempt to cover up history, that just remains part of the wonder of the world, I suppose.
Well, I think it's just an urban legend. However, I also think that it's only about that far away from the truth, because as he said, we know that everybody engaged in nasty experiments. You've got Joseph Mengele in Germany. In the United States, under programs like MK Ultra, where we were dosing unsuspecting civilians with LSD and doing other kinds of mind control experiments, and officially wasn't ended until 1974. We know that all kinds of the evil is done in the name of fighting evil, and it's a universal thing. And I see that, you know, I was talking to you, you're in Mexico. We see that kind of stuff happening just on the border with the United States and Mexico, with the drug wars going on and the kind of corruption and chaos that both governments and people engaged in the trade are involved in. Everybody claims to be working for the good, but then we hear about arms being smuggled from our government and back and forth, and even a friend of mine that I grew up with, or not grew up with, but went to high school with, Felipe Zamora Castro. He was your country's deputy minister of the interior. He died in a mysterious helicopter crash 4 years ago. And that brought to me the kinds of insanity and cruelty that goes on in this world in the name of fighting evil. Because he was Mexico's, well, the way we've referred to it here is Mexico's #2 drug czar, or anti-drug czar, I should say. And yeah, so we want to make a really engaging movie, and at the same time have a message that's worthwhile in it too.
So about the feature, the campaign on Indigo has just started, so feel free to invite our fans to join the project, everything about it.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, actually, I'm going to grab a couple things while you talk about it.
Well, the Indigo campaign is definitely underway and it's doing pretty well. We're hoping. Well, it seems like we already have it actually now. Get some letter intent money. We are talking to a few potential name actors to play the fourth prisoner. Like hint, hint. There's actually going to be a fourth prisoner in the feature. Awesome. So like, yeah, the Indiegogo is a great way. We had an Indiegogo, actually a Kickstarter campaign rather for the short film, which was successful, and I felt that was a really cool way to get fans and people interested in the film to be a part of it. I always like that. I always like having people that have like not so much an investment, but more so an invested interest in the film to be a part of it. So we wanted to recreate that opportunity for fans as well. So it's a great way to get, you know, name and credits, you know, maybe a storyboard or something like that, and just really feel like you're part of the creation process along with the cast and crew.
Well, you are part of the creation process, because without contributions from people who want to see this movie made, it's not going to get made.
Very true. Yeah. Very true.
And
investors, you know.
And I think it's a great opportunity for people to get involved with something entirely new in film. I mean, we're on the cusp of something as interesting as the medium film itself was a century ago, when we were starting to see the very first feature films, sort of silent features being made. It was an entirely new medium. It was cutthroat, all kinds of lawlessness, because everybody went to Hollywood to avoid Edison's trusts and dealing with the taxes and stuff and tariffs that involved. And we're seeing that now with the internet, providing an entirely new means of communication. And so everything's new and uncertain and exciting. And it's also, by making this movie and getting it out there, getting it known through social media and stuff, we're mining an entirely new resource of stories, a new source of mythological inspiration. Just as when the first silent films came out, one of the big sources of the stories were novels, were American novels at the time, which was a fairly new medium. I mean, novels are only about 200 years old, and so we're getting to do that now. So, you know, opera revived old classical myths, early cinema revived novels, I can't talk. And now we, and it looks like other people are jumping on this bandwagon too, are going to be using the internet and public domain stories and legends that are floating out in the digital ether as our source of inspiration. And we aren't alone on this. Sci-Fi Channel last summer announced that they're developing an anthology series, stories on a creepypasta or other. But oh yeah, so at any rate, yes, back to crowdfunding. One thing we're offering is the effects shop, who was they were our makeup team or makeup effects team on the short. Was giving away this nasty ribcage prosthetic that I wore in the movie. There we go. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to disrespect Zapata. And also, we haven't announced this one yet, but I do a lot of amateur photography. And we have this very expensive print from fine art printers here in Ferndale, Michigan, where we're talking to you from now, that we'll be putting up for $75. It was taken. I can send you the file.
Yeah, that would be more fun.
Oh, you know what I have an idea. I actually have a smaller version.
It's okay.
Right here. I'm waiting for the model to come pick it up. This is hers.
Oh, that's really nice.
Thank you. Yeah, this was exhibited at here in the Detroit area, there's an underground exhibition that happens every year around Halloween called the Damned Exhibition, and it's all artwork that revolves around well, sin and damnation and that kind of thing, and very creepy horror-oriented stuff. And so this picture was entered in that, or on display there. So yeah, I guess that's what we got coming.
Well, thank you very much for talking with us about your feature, and we will look forward for it. We want to watch it already.
Great.
So thank you very much.
Okay, well, thank you. And yeah, to follow us online, the Russian Sleep Experiment is on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I'm forgetting something.
We're on MySpace. I'm joking.
I know, IMDb. But all right, well, thank you very much.
Thanks.